Hey Phoebe, how you doing? Okay, let's jump right over and take a look. Okay, here's your composition. I think I've got your PDF up here too. I do, and I want to look at the PDF because I want to draw your attention to something right over here. Now, I have got the PDF open, which means when I hover my mouse right down towards the bottom, we'll get the size of the document. Right now, this is indicated. I've also got my rulers up so you can see. That this document is required to be 15 inches by 20 inches. These are 5 by 5 panels with 1 inch space in between. Okay, now to help you establish the proper setup for this assignment, I have created a video tutorial showing you how to set it up. So if you jump over to the announcements area, welcome to week 3. You'll see that right down at the bottom here, I've got this video right here, how to set up the file for assignment 3. That's it right there. So you definitely want to take a look at that so you get set up correctly. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to the work. Okay, here it is. Let me get rid of those rulers so they're not distracting. Okay, so the first configuration here, it requires that we use no contrast in size or weight. So all hierarchies are based on grouping. So if we take a look at that, we can see that you've done exactly that. One of the things I see immediately is that all of your type here is set at an oblique or an italic, and I don't recommend doing that. Italic type should be used very, very sparingly. The only time I use italic type is really to draw attention to one specific word or a small sentence or a small phrase, and or for captions. Other than that, keep this rule general rule in mind. Italic should only be used very, very limited. You should never, ever set type in all italic. So I recommend in your final iteration to change this to traditional non-italic. As far as the first setup goes, yes, you have done a great job establishing hierarchy based on grouping, and that's great. One of the things I would mention is that if you reduce the space between these 4 subsections right here, it will create further hierarchy because it'll tell the viewer that this is something that is considered to be a main topic. And then based on the indent, these all have something to do with this. And if we reduce the space between these a little bit, it will tell the viewer that these are all very much related. Okay, so at any rate, we've got the first design, no contrast in size or weight. So all of the hierarchy is based on grouping. That's great right there. Second design, 1 new size and 1 new weight. I don't see all I see is a new weight. I don't see a new size here. So you have to introduce another new size. I think a good option here would be to do this, is just increase this, I'm sorry, take this Plymouth Roadrunner and if you take this and you can introduce a new size and a new weight at the same time. Just increase the font size of this and watch my cursor. Place it something like that. Okay, that'll introduce your new size and your new weight at the same time. If you want to do so separately, what you can do is just keep this as a standard configuration. Okay, so no bold on there. Okay, keep it the same as this, but increase the type size. Okay, then come down here and just bold that. Okay, that'll give you a new size and a new weight. Okay, all other things remaining equal from this composition right here. Meaning that, go ahead and make these equal, the spaces between, bring this down a little bit, get these in one separate group and this in another separate group, and that will create further hierarchy. In the third design, we want multiple contrasts in height and I'm sorry, in weight and scale. Right now, I see 1 new weight and 1 new scale and 1 new weight right here. So remember, we want multiple weights and scales. We can see that right over here as in that example. Okay, so remember, multiple changes, multiple excuse me. The third design in multiple contrasts in weight and scale. So you want to introduce multiple contrasts here. Otherwise, I think you're looking pretty good. In this assignment right here, I'm going to grab this and use my straight edge. We're going to use alignment here. And just one thing I want to point out is right here, you're almost in alignment here, right? But what I would do is I would take that and just make sure actually you are in alignment. You're in alignment with the M. That's great. So that's what I was getting at. Remember, everything should align with something in typographic design. Things should always align with something. So things like this that are just kind of wantonly placed, not really anywhere in terms of alignment, should be considered to be aligned with something. Okay, this fourth example is multiple contrast and weight scale, cropped image of a car bleeding at least 2 places. All right. Don't forget, this is a black and white. This is grayscale, but this is a color image. You can see the blue dashboard. Also, you definitely want to watch the way you crop that. We've got indication of the background here, and this is a really pixelated image. So this is, if you take a look at the example, there's a great example of cropping that car and bleeding it on 2 sides. A really, really good job there. So you definitely want to pay attention to the way that you treat that car. It looks like a low resolution image to me, so I would recommend a high resolution image. Okay, so right now the problem with this is we talked about the grid, right? So right now this is not indicating adherence to the grid. And the reason I say that is because this look how close this is to the side of the, okay, that should be cropped all the way, by the way. You should not be able to see the side of that car, as we can see in the example. See how the back of that car, it's cropped off. So it's not just placed there. We actually want to crop that off. Okay. Now, when we talked about letter spacing with our trial by fire, fire and ice, and banana exercises, we talked about saccadic movements. That means the amount of time the viewer's eye makes different jumps across the page. We want to limit the amount of jumps the viewer makes. Okay, so right now this would not be considered good hierarchy, and the reason being is because you've got the viewer going like this. Start here. That's a great place to start. That all indications of a hierarchy say, look at me first, right? So we look here. Then where do we go from here? All right, if we follow down, our eye goes like this. It goes from here, 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 and here. So there's a lot of this zigzagging going back and forth, as opposed to here, where the eye comes in here and just goes straight down the line. So as you can see, watch my cursor. So what seems to be more comfortable to you? This or this? See what I'm saying? This is much more comfortable. That's why alignment is so important. What I would recommend in this particular example is this. I would take this, move the car down, okay, down to about here. Take this paragraph right here and align it right there. Then indent, maybe align with the P in Plymouth, and put these 4 right next to each other, right on top of each other. So that will indicate that they are a group, and that will improve the hierarchy. So you would have, in essence, you would have headline, then that little descriptive paragraph, and then your 4 components of the engine, and then the cropped image down there. Okay, but a couple of things I want to bring your attention to are this. This is the lecture. This is a week 3 presentation. You got to go through this. Read it. Then when you're done reading it, read it again. Then when you're done, do it a 3rd time. This is a great lecture. One of the things I want to draw your attention to is right here, this example right here. It shows exactly how to do this assignment. And this is page 101 in my book, but I've got the 6th edition of the book. I believe you have the 7th edition. So this it's this page right here. It's page 101 in my textbook, as it says right here. Yours might be a little bit different, seeing that the edition is different, but it's this visual hierarchy, and it's this a modern Hispanic poetry example. So you definitely want to take a look. I would assume they're in the 7th edition. It'll be somewhere around page 101, but take a look at that. And then back to the announcement. Remember the course announcement that I showed you? Where did that go? Oh, here it is. It's right up here. So if we jump all the way up to this announcement, welcome to week 3, we come down, right here where it says study typographic hierarchy. Take a look at this example. This is probably, I use this all the time, for example, and when I'm teaching typography. This is probably the best example I've ever seen of establishing good hierarchy based on variations in scale. So you take a look at this. It's a really, and this will give you some really great ideas on how to proceed with this exercise. Okay, great start. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, any of the above, please let me know, and I'll be glad to provide as such. But I'd like to see you go ahead and apply all of these recommended changes over the last 10 minutes in your final iteration. And again, really super important. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. All right. Thank you very much for sharing.